Welcome back to Timeless Messages from the I Ching. This is Stephen. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. So today's video, the question is, what's the most important messages for viewers at the time they find this video? Most important messages for viewers at the time they find this video. And the two hexagrams that came through are number 63, after completion, and number 17, following. So if you'd like to close your eyes and listen to the interpretation, take a few deep breaths and just relax, have some stress reduction, I'll begin the reading. After completion. This hexagram is the evolution of Tai, peace, number 11. The transition from confusion to order is completed. Excuse me. And everything is in its proper place, even in the particulars. The strong lines are in the strong places, and the weak lines are in the weak places. So this is a very favorable outlook, yet it gives reason for thought. For it is just when perfect equilibrium has been reached that any movement may cause order to go back to disorder. So the current hexagram after completion indicates conditions of a time of climax, which necessitate the utmost caution. The judgment after completion, success in small matters, perseverance furthers. At the beginning, good fortune, at the end, disorder. The transition from the old to the new is already accomplished, and in principle everything stands organized, and it is only in regard to the details that success is still to be achieved. In respect to this, however, we must be careful to maintain the right attitude. Everything proceeds as if of its own accord, and this can all too easily tempt us to relax and let things take their course without troubling over the details. Such indifference is the root of all evil. Symptoms of decay are bound to be the result. Here we have the rule indicating the usual course of history. But this rule is not an inescapable law. A person who understands this rule or this concept is in a position to avoid its negative effects because of their complete perseverance and caution and attention to details. So this is really talking about a time that you've kind of reached a zenith in some area of your life, in a relationship, in a situation, something's been resolved, something's been completed. You have to really be careful to maintain the right attitude, because everything is moving forward in a good way, but this can really tempt us to relax to such a strong degree that we don't pay attention to the details. And we don't want to be indifferent in this way, because then evil can slip in, problems can slip in, negativity can come in. So this is generally the problem that happens, is that a zenith is attained, and then because people are not paying attention at this point, everything's going so swimmingly well that the history usually comes through and says, well, this is the time when inferior energies can come in and take problems or create problems. So if you understand that this is a possibility, and you'll be willing to adjust your focus and make sure you're paying attention to all the different details and be very persevering and cautious, then you can avoid this potential danger of letting decay and evil and negativity to come in at this time of zenith or climax. So the image, water over fire, the image of the condition in after completion. Thus, the superior person takes thought of misfortune and arms themselves against it in advance. When water in a kettle hangs over a fire, the two elements are in a relationship and thus generate energy, the production of steam. But the resulting tension demands caution. If the water boils over, the fire is extinguished and its energy is lost. If the heat is too great, the water evaporates right into the air. These elements, water and fire, are brought into a relationship and thus generate energy, yet they are by nature hostile to each other. So only the most extreme caution can prevent damage. In life, too, there are times when all forces are in balance and work in harmony, so that everything seems to be in the best of order. It is in such times only that the sage recognizes, in such times only the sage recognizes the moments that indicate danger, and the sage knows how to banish this danger by means of timely precautions. So it's very important to pay attention to the nature of these elements of water and fire. They combat each other. Water puts out fire, and too much fire will completely evaporate water. But if the right balance is maintained and the tension is controlled, then you can create steam, and you can cook food and do all sorts of great things with water and fire. But you have to have this extreme caution so that you avoid creating damage, or the particular situation that you find yourself in doesn't lead to this type of outcome, this negativity and this damage. Because everything seems to be in such a good balance and to be working in harmony, right? Everything is in balance and it's working in harmony, but this is not the entire picture. Okay, so look at everything, look at all the details, because even though everything seems to be in the best of order, get in touch with that sage within yourself and listen to the hints that that sage is giving you that indicate potential dangers. Therefore, if you pay attention to that inner guidance, that sagely guidance, you'll know how to banish that danger by taking timely precautions. Taking certain paths or not taking certain paths. Taking certain decisions or not taking certain decisions. Saying certain things or not saying certain things. The changing line, the 9 in the third place, means the illustrious ancestor disciplines the devil's country. After 3 years, he conquers it. Inferior people must not be employed. Illustrious ancestor is the dynamic title, or dynastic title, of the Emperor Wu Ting of the Yin Dynasty. The Yin Dynasty occurred, Wu Ting reigned from 1324 to 1266 BC. 1324 to 1266 BC. And Wu Ting, after putting his realm in order with a strong hand, he waged long colonial wars for the subjection of the Huns. Now, the Huns were a people, a nomadic warring people, and they occupied the northern borderland with constant threat of fighting and incursions into Emperor Wu Ting's landmass, country. The situation described is as follows. After times of completion, when a new power has arisen, and everything within the country has been set in order, a period of colonial expansion almost inevitably follows. Then, as a rule, long drawn-out struggles must be reckoned with. For this reason, a correct colonial policy is especially important. Excuse me. The territory won at much bitter cost must not be regarded as a safe house for people who in one way or another have made themselves impossible in the other part of the country or the other part of the land. So the idea is that we shouldn't allow these types of people who are in these exterior territories to essentially occupy those territories, because if we let them stay there, we wouldn't let them stay there in the territories that are closer to us. So, and they're impossible to deal with closer to us, but we're thinking that, oh, it's okay, they're quite good enough for the colonies, but that's not true. Such a policy ruins at the very beginning any chance of success, and this holds true in small as well as in large matters. So this can happen not only in a country and its interactions with other people and interactions with other countries, but it can happen on a smaller scale in terms of your interactions with others. So This holds true in small as well as in large matters because it is not only rising states that carry on a colonial policy. So the urge to expand, and we all have an urge to expand here and there at times, right? So the urge to expand with its accompanying dangers is part and parcel of every ambitious undertaking. Okay, and because we have ambitions to expand, there is inherent or present in that desire to expand danger. And that's part of every ambitious undertaking, and we should be aware of this. So the idea of disciplining the devil's country, inferior people must not be employed. You have to really look at who you're going to interact with, really ponder it first. Is this really someone I need to invite into my circle? Are these like the Huns who occupied the northern borderland with constant threat of fighting and war and incursions, and Emperor Wu Ting had to battle with them to create a situation of peace? So essentially, after Wu Ting put his realm in order with a strong hand, then, after everything was, after completion, correct, everything was balanced in a state of going really well, then he still had to wage these wars against the Huns. So the Huns were an element of danger that had to be addressed. They couldn't just say, hey, everything's great, we'll just let them hang out way over there and we won't have an issue, because that would come back to bite them big time. And so this kind of concept follows suit in your own personal life. Is there someone or something or some situation that could potentially cause you problems in the future? If so, are you hanging out or interacting with that person? Or are you immersed in that situation that could bring you problems, negativity, evil, or danger in your future? If so, you might want to reevaluate your situation and take a different path. Is there someone that you've been estranged from, or someone that you had an interaction with you're no longer with, and that person is kind of on the borderland, and yet they're perhaps still reaching out to you, and it's creating a sense of, well, maybe things could get better. Maybe I could interact with this person. Maybe there is a possibility. But this is a danger that you have to really pay attention to. Very, very, very important to pay attention to these small little details, because they're signs, they're omens, they're indicators of potential evil consequences. So essentially, you really have to get into that inner wisdom, that sage within yourself that recognizes the moments that bring danger or could bring danger. And you're able to banish that danger by taking timely precautions. Now, the second changing line is the sixth and the fourth place, and it means the finest clothes turn to rags. Be careful all day long. In a time of flowering culture, a culture that's blossoming, expanding, an occasional convulsion is bound to occur, uncovering a hidden evil within society, and at first causing a great sensation. But since the situation is favorable on the whole, such evils can easily be glossed over and concealed from the public. Then everything is forgotten, and peace apparently reigns complacently once more. However, to the thoughtful person, such occurrences are grave and very serious omens and signs that this person does not neglect. This is the only way of averting evil consequences. So here we have again the repeated notion of pay attention. Don't let something that is, as you know, a hidden evil, don't let that be okay. Don't let that lead you into a complacent peace. These types of considerations or these occurrences are serious and grave signs or omens that you don't neglect. Pay attention to these signs, for this is the only way of averting evil consequences. Very important for you to pay attention. So from here we move to the second hexagram, number 17 following. Here we have the joyous lake above the arousing thunder. The trigram Tui, the joyous, whose attribute is gladness, is above. Chen, the arousing thunder, which has the attribute of movement, is below. Joy in movement induces following. So when you have a joy, if you're joyful in your movement, you're carrying yourself in this type of a way, you inspire others to follow you. The joyous is the youngest daughter, while the arousing is the eldest son. An older man defers or respectfully submits, humbly submits to a young girl. I'll repeat this again. An older man humbly submits to a young girl and shows her consideration. By doing this, he inspires her to follow him. So this older man that's pictured offers a humble submission and respect to a young girl and shows her consideration. And by doing this, he inspires her to follow him. The judgment. Following has supreme success. Perseverance furthers no blame. In order to obtain a following, one must first know how to adapt oneself. If a person would rule, they must first learn to serve, for only in this way do they secure from those below them the joyous rise that is necessary, if they are to follow him or her. If a person has to obtain a following by force or cunning, by conspiracy, or by creating divisions, this person will arouse resistance, which will obstruct willing adherence, or the people will not be willing to follow you. But even joyous movement can lead to evil consequences. Hence the added recommendation, perseverance furthers, that is, be consistent in doing what's right, together with no blame. Just as we should not ask others to follow us unless this condition is fulfilled, so it is only under this condition that we can in turn follow others without coming to harm. So they too, if we're going to follow someone else, they should be consistent in doing right and not be in a state of blame. We should not feel in a state, if we're going to follow someone, that we're pointing the fingers at them. They want to be leading in a good way by consistently doing what's right. The thought of obtaining a following through adapting to the demands of the time is a great and significant idea. This is why the judgment is so favorable, supreme success. The image, thunder in the middle of the lake, the image of following. Thus the superior person at nightfall goes indoors for rest and recuperation. In the autumn, electricity withdraws into the earth again and rests. Here it is the thunder in the middle of the lake that serves as the image. Here thunder is in its winter rest, not thunder in motion. The idea of following, in the sense of adaptation to the demands of the time, grows out of this image. Thunder in the middle of the lake indicates times of darkness and rest, recuperation. Similarly, a superior person, after being tirelessly active all day, allows themselves to rest and recuperate at night. For no situation can become favorable until one is able to adapt to it and does not wear themselves out with mistaken resistance. Read that last sentence again. For no situation can become favorable until a person is able to adapt to it and does not wear themselves out with mistaken resistance. So this could manifest in many different ways in your life. Perhaps you will meet somebody soon and you are going to have an opportunity to defer to that person. Defer would be to submit or respect that person in a way that would inspire them through your consideration to follow you. That could be a possibility. At the very least, this does talk about the way to conduct yourself in order to have supreme success. So the idea is that you have to first know how to adapt yourself. You must first learn how to serve. In this way, you can secure the ability to have a following from others if you know how to serve. If you're able to understand the needs of the people and to meet them where they're at, then they're willing to follow you. This can manifest in many different ways in a personal relationship. It doesn't have to be society at large where there's a leader and people following that leader. It can just be in an interpersonal relationship that you have with someone else. that you're willing to respect them and offer them service, to submit to them and serve them and help them and adapt yourself to the needs of the particular situation. So you definitely do not want to try to obtain a following from others, even if it's just another person, by being devious or creating a conspiracy or creating divisions, because that's just going to create mistrust and resistance from that other person or other people. So joyous movement can lead to evil consequences. Therefore, it's really, really important for you to be consistent in doing what's right. What does the situation that you find yourself in require of you? That's a good question to ask yourself. And just doing it because it needs to be done. Also, if you're considering an interaction with someone else, if they're not being consistent in doing what's right, then it's probably not someone that you should be following yourself, because you could come to harm. So in fine-tuning your character, your personality, your behavior, your words, your actions, if you want to rule, you must first learn to serve others. Then you can be a good ruler. So the image further goes on to talk about how the energy, your own personal energy, has to be recuperated and has to be in a state of rest. After you've been very active all day long, for example, in the evening time, you go indoors for rest and recuperation. So both of these hexagrams can point to a coin, both sides of a coin. The first hexagram after completion is the one side, the importance of paying attention to the details and not letting evil influences come in or evil situations come in, just as the Emperor Wu Ting was preventing the Huns from creating problems for his dynasty, for his territory. So to the other hexagram of following talks about the other side of the coin, in which it's important for you to be respectful and to be humbly submissive in certain relationships and interactions, because there's this other energy that can help you with the energy of after completion, and after completion too can help you with following as well. So remember that this is a time that you can be tirelessly active, but also it's very important, just as thunder is renewing itself, to be resting in the winter time, for you too as well to take time to rest and recuperate, to renew your powers, your perceptions, your ability to pay attention, to see things clearly as they truly are, not to gloss over things that could be leading to dangers or evil consequences for yourself. And in some circumstances, this could indicate that you're going to meet someone soon, and you will humbly submit and respect this person, show this person, who could be younger than you, you'll be showing this person consideration and respect. And if you do this, you will inspire this person to follow you. So these are the information messages I have for you, the timeless messages. I hope that they're helpful for you. And please listen to this audio once more and write down some of the most important points and try to incorporate those into your lives. Thanks for tuning in, and take care.